Hey there, Jaden.
Hello, Max. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Yay! We like awesome. We like
Yes.
awesome. So I have a video that I shared with you that just has totally rocked my world.
Yeah,
That
mine too.
I want to share with the group here. It's Dr. Stephen Gundry, who was a heart surgeon who's done over 10,000 heart surgeries, and he would do things that he was just like super doctor kind of person. And as he was doing all these heart surgeries, he started to think differently, like, well, how can we prevent this? So he started to do really big research and deep stuff and started to find all these different things going on. But he talks, and that in and of itself is interesting. But in this video, he started the video by talking about his future book, and the good bugs and bad bugs. He started talking about bacteria, and the way he talked about it just blew my world open into a completely different space. And so I want to start with that video. So does that work for you to do the video?
Sure. Let's start it off for him.
Okay, so let's do the video, and then we'll come back and we'll start playing with that.
Yes.
Welcome everyone back to the School of Greatness podcast. We've got the legendary Dr. Gundry in the house. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
I'm excited about this, and you just opened it up. We'll probably leave that in there. Kind of your mission is to end disease, and then you're saying it all comes through the gut. Starts and ends with the gut.
Correct.
Everything what we eat can solve the disease we have within us, right?
Correct.
Based on the foods that we put inside of us.
It can actually extend our lifespan to potentially things that people can't even imagine.
Wow.
And it actually has to do not with you and me and what we conceive of our bodies, but it turns out that 90% of all the cells that make you and me, are actually non-human cells. They're bacteria, viruses, funguses, worms that live in us and on us.
Wow.
And the shocking thing is that 99% of all the genes that make up you and me are non-human genes.
What are they?
They're bacterial and viral genes. And what we've completely missed from the Human Genome Project is that we have actually very few genes, and our genes are about 99% the same as a chimp or a gorilla. And we're very different than chimps or gorillas, and yet we have virtually the same genes. What makes us different is actually the bacteria and viruses that live in us.
We have different bacteria and viruses.
And you can actually show when humans evolved from the other great apes that our bacteria actually changed, and we can actually identify that point in time that the bacteria made us rather than our genes made us.
So the bacteria's made us human, or bacteria made us?
Yeah, they actually, as shocking as it may seem, most of what happens to us is determined by the state and the variation of our bacteria, primarily in our gut. Give you an example. You can take a bowel movement from an obese individual and feed it to a skinny rat. Skinny rats love to eat poop.
Right.
And those skinny rats will become fat.
Really?
Because the bacteria have actually manipulated their feeding habits. They actually send text messages to the brain to go look for foods that they would not otherwise consume that those bacteria want. And we can actually, there was a cool study in a marathon runner. You're a great athlete. So there's a woman marathon runner in England a couple of years ago who developed a very severe infection in her colon called C. difficile. A lot of people have heard of it.
Okay.
And the modern treatment of this now is a fecal transplant. Taking poop from somebody else and shoving it up your ass.
Wow.
And you try to get a fecal transplant from a family member, because believe it or not, family members tend to share their bacteria. I share a lot of bacteria with my dogs, and they share with me. So they found a cousin who was a good match for her, and she got the fecal transplant, and everything went well. Her C. difficile went away. We can go into why that happened. But in the next year, this marathon runner gained 32 pounds.
Wow.
Without changing anything. And it turns out her cousin, was actually about 32 pounds overweight. And so she was inoculated with obesogenic bacteria. And her bacteria, these little, one-cell organisms, controlled her behavior.
Wow.
Now, think about this.
So it made her more hungry or desirable of certain foods.
Yeah, exactly.
So she changed the way she was eating because she was triggered in
being
a different way.
manipulated.
Wow.
Being manipulated. What I'm trying to get people to understand is this is not about you and me or what we conceive as us. We're just a condominium for the people who really run us, and these are all these little one-cellular organisms. And what we're beginning to realize is we're a condominium for these bugs. And we're their home. We've exchanged them living in us and actually taking care of us for food and shelter for them.
Huh.
And
that's crazy.
I know. And the really cool thing is, so we can take bacteria from young animals, and put them into old animals. And the bacteria say, man, this place is decrepit. I need to do a complete total renovation here because this is where I'm stuck and I better make the best of it. And I want everything to be nice. It's like, gentrification of the neighborhood. And this actually...
So what do they do?
So they actually instruct. Here's the take-home message. They actually send text messages to the mitochondria, and you probably know all about mitochondria, the little energy organelles.
Yes. In the brain, right?
They're in every one of you, but the brain has the most of them. And these produce energy. These mitochondria are actually engulfed bacteria. And as strange as it may seem, the bacteria in your gut send text messages to the mitochondria that say, guys, new sheriff's in town, clean up your act. We want you guys working and humming on all, 8 cylinders. It's kind of like General Kelly coming into the White House and total disarray. And it was going, okay, guys, no more of this silliness. And so we now have discovered some of those compounds that the bacteria in your gut signal the mitochondria to regenerate themselves, and it's opening up whole new areas that we never even dreamed of.
Like I'd heard one of the other doctors talk about it when they talk about like the human DNA is actually really smaller than most other animal DNA and other stuff, yet humans have a unique symbiotic setup. And his questioning was, what makes humans more dynamic is our symbiotic
the bacteria that
with
we have.
bacteria. And what if so how much of what we call body awareness is actually us communicating with our beneficial bacteria?
Receive.
Woo. Because it's almost like, well, you can picture that bacteria would talk with each other. So my bacteria talks with your bacteria, talks with everybody else's bacteria. And you can, like, that opened up another space of questioning and exploration for me. But then you bring into that, well, how about the bad bacteria? He calls them the bad bugs. Which is viruses, like there's good viruses, bad viruses. I don't know how you can have a good pathogen, but they have bad pathogen. I have to explore what the definition of pathogen. But it's like, how much are the other voices that are going on in our body, and what I've often called not body or unbody or stuff like that, is actually the bad bacteria or the pathogens or the bad viruses or non-contributive biological components. Oh, that's got an interesting non-contributive
biological components. Whoa, there we go.
And so what are all the non-contributed biological components that we have participating in our reality, pretending to be body or being that actually are not body or being?
Ugh. Yeah. Ugh.
There's just a little bit there. I can almost breathe.
Let's move all that. Let's grab all that and put it into that pile. Yeah. Everything from below.
Back behind. Inside. Outside. Everything remaining. Remaining. Wow. There's a little bit.
Yeah.
And encapsulate all that.
Yep.
And can we shrink that all down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Hyper. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down, trace, check, scan it on, everything remaining. Bash, bash. Seven being somebody first fails. Paper, Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I was experimenting with that like yesterday. It's just like, oh, so how much of the craving for sugar is the bacteria? It's not even my craving. It's just that bacteria, and they're communicating in that way. And it's interesting because it's like looking at like that makes it, well, it was making it easier for me to resist those certain things, because it's like, oh, because it's really not me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there's two dynamics that go on there. It's like, well, let me go first. It's the thing that blew me away, and I need to clarify this more, but I've heard multiple people who are like really are at the front end of getting this start to say things like, your food doesn't actually feed you at all. You don't actually, your body doesn't actually require the food. The bacteria requires the food, and then the bacteria excretes or
that
facilitates things that your body requires. So it's actually not you're not actually eating stuff for you. You're eating stuff for the bacteria, and as your microbiome changes, your food changes to match that, and as your food changes, your biome changes. But it's like you're not feeding you pretty much at all. You're feeding your microbiome, which is then in turn converting and feeding you. And that was like, but the next level that I want to say about the sugar, like what I found about that related to the amino acids, is like there are many times where I would crave sugar, and then I'd look at my
your little list,
of the different brain neurotransmitters, and it's like, oh, it's the sugar is actually because my dopamine's low, or my serotonin's low, or my GABA's low, and all I would do is take my amino acid, and within 10 minutes the craving is just gone. So it's like there are cravings that are the body has learned that if we take in sugar, it will in the short term balance out, like whatever you consume sugar in that your bacteria excrete a certain thing, and then boom, you get what you need. But you can also get it by
the amino acids,
the amino acid directly. So like my sugar cravings, how I handle it is I take the amino acid first, and if my amino acids are then completely balanced out, then I know that that's not my brain requiring that, it's something else requiring that. So it's not totally a black and white,
right?
Like eliminate all sugar, because that the craving tells you more than it can be the body asking for it by indirect means.
Right. And so it's like anything else, is the craving for sugar is not just the craving for sugar. It's a component of these other ones. You remove one component, and then you see, oh, is there anything remaining? Oh, yes, there is. So we take some sugar. No, we're done. We don't need anything. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So it's like that's when I ignore the sugar craving. If my body feels good because I've gotten all my neurotransmitters back balanced, and I'm still craving sugar, then it's like, go away. Like, and I can ignore it easily. If I'm not feeling energized, or I'm not feeling positive, or I'm feeling stressed, or I don't have mental clarity, then I know my neurotransmitters aren't balanced. I'll handle those first.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, the low sugar lately has been creating symptoms that seem like my neurotransmitters are low when they're not. That feels kind of heavy. Maybe they still are low, but they're low in a different way. Nah, I don't want to tangle it in.
Yeah, vapor.
All the noble, yeah, all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to tangle the conversation now that we've.
Yeah. Well, then the thing is, like, we needed to clear around that too. Yeah. So what is everything that we brought up that would be a contribution for us to now clear? Woo. Yeah, there we go. Everything that is.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Vaporize.
Vaporize.
And because what's really crazy about all this stuff is when we tap into the neurotransmitters and all the research behind that, we're bringing in this other framework that has some things that aren't a contribution to our conversation. So yeah. And so when we're talking about it, we could easily, I mean, I did that on my call as I brought in some science to help explain something, and it created this block because we're bringing in this other framework, and that has some funky stuff with it that's not a contribution.
And we haven't cleared it. Yeah, it's got other. Yeah, you said it perfectly. Yeah.
So vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Yeah.
But back to the non-contributive biological components. So what are all the universes, time streams, or simulations that we or body are participating in or connected to that are actually belonging to non-contributive biological components and not us?
Yeah.
Wow. And can we put all that out front?
Yeah.
Down below, back behind, inside, outside, everything remaining. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. So wherever I'm putting non-contributive biological components, frequency or viewpoint as more important than my own, or is more important than your own?
I think we need to clear something before we do that. Oh, that's what I wanted to do is, so what are all, I mean, you kind of did this one before, but so what are all the non-contributive biological components that you've decided are what are all the components that you decided are a contribution to you that actually are non-contributive biological components?
Whoa.
What's that? Whoa.
In pile.
Yeah. Oh, let's get the,
Wow. Down below.
Woo. My whole body is just like going, oh my God.
Left. Right. Inside. Whoa. Outside remaining. Outside everything remaining. All in the pile. Wow. Can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah. Hyper shrink. Wow.
And it's kind of almost like I want to bring an inalienable screen that we like pass our entire body through to push through all, I mean, because it's like it feels like there's still contributive biological stuff in here.
Yeah. Well, we're still
body weight. Oh, yeah. So what are all the non-contributive biological components that body needs to flush out in body's way? And receive.
Ooh. And I don't know, for me, that brought up a lot of energetic stuff too. Like,
Uh-huh.
so
Oh
what
yeah.
is everything energetic that we can flush out?
Whew, yes. Ugh, yeah. Whew.
Down below, way out front. Wow.
Mhm.
And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Banish anchors, banish anchors, banish anchors.
Oh,
Banish anchors, banish anchors.
yeah. And what are all the ways that we've decided that body changes and body clears and body flushes? That no, that's not quite it. Because what I wanted to get is, what if body works energetically as well?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so what energetic ways would body like to flush these remaining or remove these remaining components?
Where is everywhere that we're holding back, preventing, or preventing our body from flushing, or restricting our body in any way from flushing things that aren't to our advantage or body's advantage?
Cool.
It's not well worded, but it gets to the point.
Yeah.
And can we shrink all that down?
Yep. Ooh, yeah. So where are all the ways that we are preventing body from body using magic in the way
That's
body
right.
likes to use body magic, or would like
Yeah.
to use body magic? Ooh.
Would like. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yep.
And do
And
we allow
everything that,
body to
everything that we're preventing, because you brought that up.
Okay, yes.
is
Okay,
trying to
thank
create
you. Ooh, vaporize.
bash anchors, bash anchors, bash anchors.
Ooh.
And so what body magic with clearing is now possible, or with flushing and releasing is now possible.
Yeah.
And receive. Wow.
And what body magic can we just allow body to do now, or do it any time, that would be a contribution to being and a contribution to body?
And receive to our advantage.
Ooh. Ooh. Woo.
Body
Wow.
like that.
Body so likes that. It's just like, oh, you haven't seen anything yet, Max. Yeah. Like, you think you've been powerful before? Well, wait now. Uh-huh.
I totally get that distinct. Like, it's not a hint. It's it's like the sense of a knowing of really profound capacities and possibilities. Yeah. And some of it we're doing without being aware of it.
Oh yeah, totally. I totally get that. But the part that is like, we've been putting this like limit on what body can do.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want it doing too much or showing things, or we were
So how
concerned
much did we put a limit on it, and how much did something else put a limit on it?
Yeah. Woo. A lot on something else. Woo.
Yeah. 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 And everything all the limits that something else had put on body, can we put all that in the pile?
Can we yeah, okay.
The answer is yes.
Yes. No, I was just like, do we want to move those first, or do we want to remove all the something else's that put those limits on?
Let's do that too.
Okay.
But I want to move this.
All right.
Inside, outside, everything remaining.
Everything.
All in the pile. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Yes, I do, because they're being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down, trace, stress, scan, ideal. Where we, when all these energies were created, assembled, modified, gilded, stress, through inception, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all. What are all the remaining entities, demons, creatures, coalition aliens, and their supporters, reptilians, parasitics, beings, doings, gods, and other non-contributive frequencies? Trace, stress, scan, ideal, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, freeze, tap down. And can we banish all these energies from all dimensions, realities, universes, planets, parallels, virtual reality worlds?
Yes, I choose that.
Yes. And now, prime creator, banish all these energies. Do this now. Banish, banish, banish,
Vanquish.
Wow. Wow. It's almost like they were hiding in and amongst all the crap, and then we cleared. Now they're just kind of standing there naked going, oh. And what's everything remaining that's rooted in that we need to just grab and rip out? Grab it and rip it out. Hurl it out of the universe. Badminton.
Yep. Give them a good spanking as they're going. That's what I was doing.
Hyper badminton. Hyper spanking badminton.
Exactly. You're not just leaving. You're kicking your ass as you're going out.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Body is having a feeling of lightness he hasn't had for a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So what is the second part? What is everything that you decided that non-contributive biological components doesn't mean that it actually does mean? That's not.
Yeah.
It grabs stuff, but let's get rid of that.
Yep. Yeah.
It's almost,
so what's everything we would have cleared if we didn't go off on a tangent?
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Okay. Yeah. Woo.
Wow.
Cool. Woo.
Wow.
Woo.
And can we just try and create all that?
Yeah, I choose that.
I choose that.
Wow. Fun.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What are all the non-contributive biological components that we're connected to that are not contributing to our authentic agenda?
Receive.
Wow. You don't feel that?
I thought we cleared them all. So all the unknowable, unspeakable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, information, energy fog, cloaking, body cloaking. Wow.
Wow.
And all of that.
Wernicke's commands, booby traps, yep, all that.
Covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies. Destroy all of that.
Yeah, I choose that. Wow. So what are all the non-contributive biological components that we're connected to that are not contributing to our authentic agenda?
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah. And all of that in the pile.
Woo.
That's bulldozer. Down below. Up above. Left. Right. Inside. Outside. Everything remaining. Wow. And can we shrink all that stuff down the list and nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Oh, come on, bring that back. Come on, brain, spit it out. What is that?
I have something if you.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, we kind of did this, but what are all the non-contributive biological components cloaked within contributive biological components?
Wow.
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 That is. Put that out front.
Yeah. Woo.
Encapsulate. Everything down below. Back behind. Above. Left. The right. Inside. Outside. Pre-tag, encapsulate. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize, vaporize. Wow. Wow. Yeah, so I got it. Unless
Cool,
you've
go
got
for
something.
it.
Okay, so when I was exploring so there's beneficial bacteria and there's non-beneficial bacteria, or
Yep.
we're calling non-contributive biological
Mhm.
components to be broader. It's like one of the ways that they function. They were looking at newer research has found. They talk about bacteria that is no longer responsive to antibiotics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually not totally true. What they've found is that there are certain bacteria that create what they call a biofilm. It's
Mm-hmm. Oh
they
yeah.
basically attach themselves to some part of your body,
Mhm.
and then they cover themselves with a protective coating that seals them off like a dome.
Yep.
And then they function within, and the world goes on around them on the outside, and it doesn't affect them on the inside.
Right.
So I've been exploring so what are all the biofilms that are covering or hiding non-contributive biological components that is now to our advantage to destroy and uncreate?
Ugh. Yes.
Wow. And everything, all that is put that in the pile. And everything down below.
Yep.
And back behind, up above, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, all in the pile, all in the pile.
Mhm.
Wow. And encapsulate all.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, stick by bash, anchors, bash, anchors, bash, anchors, bash. Someone being somebody first. Vaporize, stick by, vaporize, stick by, vaporize. Wow. 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 And it's got me kind of like, ooh. So what are all the entities, demonics, creatures, coalition aliens that have gotten parasitic beings doing as gods? Others have lost have gotten separated, have lost their anchors, lost their centering. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, trace, scan ID all, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all. And can we banish all these energies from all our
Yes,
all
I
our
choose
stuff?
that.
Yeah. Nebula prime crater, banish all these energies. Do this now. Bash,
Yes. Yes, vanquish.
bash, seven being somebody first. Vapor, bash, 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 bash. Wow.
Oh.
And rip. Boing.
Huh.
Vapor,
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I noticed there were times I'd wake up in the morning and I'd do clearing, and I would get to the who, what, where, when, why am I being, and it felt like I was in a bubble. And over and over again, like I'd to get out of that, I'd cut it or I'd laser it or I'd do whatever I did, but it's like that didn't satisfactorily, like there was other layers and there were other ones of them, and it almost felt like I'm missing something. And I'm wondering how much of the containments how much of that sense of containment are we perceiving biofilms that have been placed over parts of our body? I even began to question how much of the fracture paradigm is parts of ourselves that have gotten kind of biofilmed off and separated.
Interesting.
Like I've been exploring like the energetic paradigm that we've been playing with for the last X number of years.
Yeah.
In the context of a physical reality.
Yeah.
And there's some very interesting possible connections there. I'm not quite willing to make any concrete definitions yet, but I'm playing.
Yeah, no, that has I mean, and what I mean, because it is like our bodies are a representation of the physical universe, or energetic universe, and our energetic beings, and so that does totally read that there's physical components to the energetic stuff, and yeah.
And it all seems to keep going back to this non-contributed biological component. Like there's, like it has an agenda. It's interesting that Dr. Gundry talks about that the good bacteria actually desires to assist the body in, like, if it's not distracted or manipulated by the bad bacteria, the bad bugs, I'll use his good bugs, bad bugs, then it actually is continually working to rebuild the body. It's almost like it thinks of your body as its home, and it wants to keep it in good shape. So it's remodeling constantly. It's constantly rebuilding, refreshing. Whereas the bad bacteria, the bad bugs, are not. They're actually a destructive nature. They're the you ever see a picture of the, I think it's called cordyceps. It's a kind of mushroom that when it gets into insects, like it actually grows in the insect and then grows out of the insect.
Well, it adjusts their brain so that it goes to where they want it to go, and then it dies there. Yeah.
It controls them. It learns to completely take control of the creature, and then it slowly takes over the body, and it leaves just enough functioning to keep the biological mechanisms alive for the longest possible time. And then when it's consumed everything, then it lets the last part of it die. And that's actually kind of the paradigm that I'm looking at for the non-contributive biological components.
So everything that brought up, do we choose to remove and destroy all that?
And put it in the pile. And what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, and undisclosed energies around this? Wow. And put all that in the pile.
Yeah.
And encapsulate all. And and can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that.
Vaporize liquefy. Woo! Ah.
So it's like you've got, if we're looking at the polarity again, you've got the bacteria that's contributive, that's constantly trying to refresh and restore and keep it optimal. And that's what we ideally want in the body. And then you have the other stuff that's actually deliberately trying to do the opposite of that. Its paradigm is to dismantle and take apart and break down.
And I see it slightly differently. It's more, I see it more as they're doing what they want to do. And right. And it's not necessarily that they're trying to completely tear the body down, but they don't care if, you know, you're 50 or 100 pounds overweight, because they want to eat, you to eat more sugar and more starch or whatever that is. They want that. And so that doesn't make it harder for them. It makes it better for them.
Right. But actually it's like, that's the little view about what they do. It's like, when I look at the bigger view, their energy is one of consumption to access. Like just consume. Okay, this host died. We move on to another host. Consume. This host died. We move on to another host. It's the cordyceps in the ant paradigm. It's like it consumes the host, and because it knows that it has no concern for the host, it knows it will get a new host. Whereas the good beneficial bacteria has concern for the host. It wants to keep a symbiosis. There's a symbiotic relationship. The other one does not have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, and I get that there's a read to that, though I don't get I get it more that, you know, because it still doesn't want the host to die instantly, because that doesn't benefit it.
Right. It wants to take everything it can take first, and then it will do it.
Okay.
I mean, you look at the externalization on the planet, it's like, okay, we cut down the rainforests, it's like we consume, we clear out the natural, and when it's all bare and there's nothing left, then we'll move on.
Okay.
It's that consuming, yeah, but I want to explore what are all the non-symbiotic biological components that we have.
We still have.
You don't have a read on that?
What are all the non-contributive?
Okay, so let's do clearing. So
Yeah.
what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's community, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies around us?
Yep.
Wow. And put all that in the pile, down below, right behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, on the pile. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. So what are all the non-symbiotic biological components that we have? Yeah. And
Symbiotic
everything
had a different read to it too.
Yeah. And everything that all that is, can we put all that in the pile?
Yep.
Yeah, I choose that. Everything from down below, back behind, up above, way out front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, encapsulate all. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, Spanish, seven being somebody for his vaporize. Wow. That opened up a space for new awareness.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Ooh.
Ooh. Wow. Wow. So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we in our bodies be to eliminate and eradicate all non-symbiotic biological components from our bodies to our authentic advantage? And receive.
In our bodies too. Just want energetically out our bodies doing that. Yeah.
Yep. And receive.
Ooh.
And where's everywhere we can give permission or support to our body to eliminate all non-symbiotic biological components.
Yeah.
And receive.
That
are not to authentic body's advantage. And receive.
Yeah.
Wow. It's almost like, we were talking in the beginning about the attack paradigm of energetic versus the physical. It's almost like, okay, enough with the, I want to use more than just the energetic. How can we quantify the physical in such a way that we can begin to eliminate that? Whether we do it even energetically.
Right.
It's like some of it is just energetically becoming aware of these other elements. And then, okay, well, what herbs can we take? Like I ordered a variety of different antibacterial, antivirus herbs that are known for clearing
bad bugs.
Thank you. Like that's not something I've explored with in the past, or not explored in this way, in a focused, like, okay, body, which of these feels beneficial to you for clearing out what we have here?
And it's coming back to, the whole whole stuff that you introduced in the out creating course about, you know, our bodies are here with us, having their own experience and their own capacities. You know, and it's easy to focus so much on one or the other. You know, I think about, like, you know, people who are bodybuilders and exercise, and they focus only really on their body with a small mental component. And then we've been, you know, gone from only doing energetic stuff to including our bodies. And now this is another level that we're bringing our bodies up to work with us. You know, so it's not like being and body. It's just like, ooh, let's do this together. And what even greater change can we create together?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's like the at the same time we're helping the good bacteria to help us, or how can we help the good bacteria to help us
and receive?
Woo!
Ooh.
So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we in our bodies be to energetically support the good bacteria to help
body and being,
the symbiotic bacteria to assist body and being and receive? Wow.
Yeah, and I want to play a little bit with communication. You know, because one of the things is, you know, when we have so many more bad bacteria, their voices are louder or potentially louder. So it's harder for us to hear the contributive bacteria.
So let me define that for other people, because we've had other conversations that other people may not have been a part of. It's like, so what are all the voices? So hold that thought, Max. What are all the voices that you have in your head or that come up for you that are actually voices from non-contributed biological components or non-symbiotic components? Those voices there. And what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies? Wow. And everything that is, can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. And encapsulate. And everything down below. Back behind.
Oh, wow.
Wow, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, outside, everything remaining, encapsulate all. Wow. And wow, can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that.
Whoa. Wow.
Okay, where are we going?
So I was talking about how the communication, the bacteria are communicating with us, their voices. So for most of us, we probably have more of the or have a large portion of the negative or the non-contributive bacteria, and they're sending out the information. Oh, eat this, do this. So what?
Or they have a louder voice.
What?
Or they have a louder voice. They could have found a way to tap into your communication systems in such a way that they speak more loudly than the good bacteria.
Yeah, that's a reason.
Whereas everywhere that the non-contributive bacteria or non-contributed biological components or non-symbiotic biological components speak louder than the beneficial or contributive components.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay.
And what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies around all this?
Whoa!
You put all that in the pile.
Yep.
Woo! Everything down below, back behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Wow! And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So what is everything preventing communication from the contributive and symbiotic biological components? from
Ooh.
communicating with you in a way that you can understand and listen to and hear. Ugh.
Wow.
Ah. Whoa! All of that. Do we choose
Wow.
all that?
Yep. In the pile. Whoa. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, think about it. Banish, 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 banish.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah.
Wow.
So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we be to hear and listen to the contributive and symbiotic biological components that are a contribution to our body?
Yeah, and receive.
Ooh. Ooh.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure quite how to say this, but what I've been getting is that the contributive bacteria have been trying to talk for so long or communicate, and then they're like, okay, it's too much work to talk, or they haven't had that that's not give. Yeah.
How much have they been blocked or
Suppressed.
prevented or suppressed?
Okay, suppressed has yeah, that's what I was getting. That there's a suppressed energy to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is everything that has suppressed
Ooh. Wow.
contributive biological components
Yeah.
in communicating with
Woo.
body and being?
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah. Ow.
Wow. Let's put all that in the pile.
Yeah.
And what is all the unconsciousness,
What's
anti-consciousness, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies around all this? Put all that.
Whoa. Wowza.
Whoa. Left.
Whoa.
Right. Inside. Outside everything remaining. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose
Wow. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy.
Vaporize, liquefy, banish, anchors, banish, anchors, banish, anchors.
Wow. That was huge.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, that was like one of the largest things I've cleared in a long time. Wow.
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 So what else can we go after there? Because it does seem like it's been a game with communications, like internally. I mean, most of us have experienced that. Like there's the what I call the mind fuck. Like there's the opposing voices, and it's almost like these games.
Yep.
And it wouldn't be the contributive biological games. Like it's almost like they wouldn't even know what to do with that. That's foreign to them. Yet the non-biological, the non-contributive.
Well, they have to manipulate. The non-contributive ones have to manipulate. Otherwise, you're going to kick them out.
Right.
Just period.
Right.
Because we would just recognize it and kick them out.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what are all the, wow, I don't even want to look at it. What are all the manipulations that have occurred that the non-contributed biological components or non-symbiotic biological components have instituted, created, or put in place that impede communication with contributive biological components and symbiotic biological components?
Including cellular and hormonal. Ugh.
At every level of biological functioning.
Ugh. Whoa.
And everything, all that is, we put all that in the pile.
I think we need a rip. That's sticky.
Ugh. Low, back down, above, way up front, left, the right, inside. Wow. Outside, everything remaining, everything remaining. And what is let's shrink all that down.
Yeah.
Yep.
vaporize. Woo.
And it was
Wow.
difficult even thinking about it. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies, and all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable energies. Wow, let's put all that in the pile. Down below, back behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, remaining. Encapsulate all. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah,
that.
I choose that.
Whoa.
Splash.
Wowza. Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I'm it's pretty solid now for me. In my recent explorations, just in the last couple of weeks, of seeing, like before I always talked about this alien, there was this strong read around, there's these alien energies. And while I may have externalized them into physical alien green beings walking around, whatever, some kind of aliens walking around or hidden underground or whatever. And that's not to say that there aren't, but it's like I'm really beginning to think of that as it's alien biological components. So what are all the alien biological components and alien non-symbiotic components that are in or around your body?
Wowza.
Wow. And everything all that is, can we put all that? Yep. And what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies, and all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, and undetectable energies? Wow. Put all that in the pile.
Yep.
Everything from down below, back behind, up above, way out front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, and capsulate. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Hyper shrink.
Whoa.
We're sending book. You can't reclaim vaporize, bash.
And everything that doesn't want us looking here, freeze all, pre-scan all, pre-tag all, pre-ID all, pre-encapsulate.
Trace scan ID all, pre-tag.
Creator, please grab all of these energies and remove them now from all realities, universes, and dimensions. And do it now, please. Thank you. Banish, vanquish. Wow.
Well, that got quieter.
Golly. Yes. Oh.
Wow. So it's like I began to look at, like, so we have this, like you and I, Max, have had this thing about clearing on a daily basis, where other people may not necessarily think to do that or choose to do that. When I convert this whole picture and look at it in terms of the clearing that we're doing is actually removing non-contributive, alien, non-symbiotic components, it's like the way they do it is they hide and they replicate under a biofilm, and then they open the biofilm and then they flood the system. So it's almost like if looking at it biologically, if you're not constantly hunting these things down, they're multiplying in some place, and then all of a sudden, boom, they come out, and all of a sudden you're flooded with them, and it's like, where did that come from?
So everything, all that brought up until we just remove and destroy all that.
Yep. In the pile, down below, behind, above, left, right. inside, outside, everything remaining, and all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke, spans, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies.
Oh,
Whoa, all that in the pile.
yeah. You choose to remove
Caps
it.
that out.
Yep.
And can we shrink all this stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Boo.
Vaporize, look at vaporize, look at vaporize, look at. Yep.
Bash, anchor, bash, anchor, bash.
And then everything, all of this conversation has brought up that's
Mhm.
not a contribution to you.
Mhm.
Ooh, do you choose to remove and destroy all that? Ooh.
Yeah, I choose that.
Yes, I choose that. Wow. Wowza. Let's move on that. Yeah. So everything,
Everything
below.
down below.
Right.
Nine.
Whoa.
Above. Right.
Oh, golly.
Left.
Ooh.
Outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Encapsulate all. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Woo. Hyper shrink.
Whoa.
And what are all the remaining entities, demons, creatures, coalition aliens, and their supporters? Reptilians, parasitic beings, doings, gods, and other non-contributive frequencies. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down, trace, shaft, scan, ideal. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all. Wow. And can we banish all these energies from all
Versus
everything.
realities, bodies, dimensions, time streams. Yes, I choose that.
All that. Yep. Prime critter, nail
Yeah,
prime
well-
critter, banish all these energies. Do this
No.
now. Bash, anchor, bash,
Oh,
anchor,
thank you.
bash,
Vanquish.
Send Wookiee, camera, clan, paper, I think, bash, anchor. And everything remaining that we perceive, grab by the roots, just
And everything you don't.
rip it out. Yep. And even if you don't,
My
Oh.
favorite. My favorite. Woo. Oh, okay. Well, let's just do this. So everywhere we've actually been holding back, afraid to remove too much because we're going to get too close to what's actually us. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. All of that would be to our advantage or to your advantage to remove. Do you choose to use that extra power and remove all of that would be to your advantage to remove?
can you say that again without the limiter on the end or in the middle?
I don't remember what the limiter was.
Yeah. So everything that is, can we just try and create
Yes,
all
I
that?
choose that.
Yeah. What was the first part that you said?
So everything that we've been holding back from removing because we were getting too close.
Yeah. So that
Okay,
the
that was the
because
part.
made it smaller.
Okay.
So
So just everything that we've been holding back, removing, that would be a contribution for us to remove. Woo.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, there we go. Woo.
Yeah.
Do you choose to remove and destroay all that? Whoa.
Yes, I choose it. All in the
Whoa, I
pile.
choose that. Yeah.
Everything
Be
down
pricey.
below,
Be pricey.
back behind, up and down, way up front, and shrink down to less than nothing. Yep.
Yes.
Vaporize. Think about it. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Wow. Wow. I wonder what else is possible now.
Yeah.
Receive.
Receive.
Wow.
Mm.
So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we in our bodies be to have a body that is full of a body that contains symbiotic, contributive biological components that function to our individual
Yeah,
advantage?
I'd like to change the beginning because we already have
Okay.
that body. So, I
Yep.
mean, we have our amazing body. So how can our body,
Yep.
that part, or so,
Yep.
I don't quite remember all the things you said.
Okay, so how can our body contain contributive and symbiotic biological components? And receive?
Receive.
That's not the way I want to say it. That's the
almost.
direction. I can't quite
Yeah.
grab the right words. What
Yeah.
words would I get there?
To increase. to increase, ooh, there we go. Yeah. So how can our bodies increase the contributive and symbiotic bacteria, our biological components, to our and our body's authentic advantage?
And receive.
Receive. Ooh, ooh, whoa.
And it's interesting that
Uh-huh.
biologically they work by a process of overwhelm. Like there's just more of the good guys, and so the bad guys can't live there anymore. It's almost like, how can we have more of the good guys come in and overwhelm the bad guys and they have to leave?
Or create the environment that the bad guys don't like and the good guys like. So it's fun it's fun and easy. Oh, yeah. What environment can we create in our bodies so that the contributive symbiotic biological components love, multiply, and thrive to our bodies and the symbiotic and biological components advantage?
Yes, and receive.
Ooh, ooh, wowza. That's a weird kind of receiving. I'm receiving from my sides.
Really?
It's just like,
No, that's
whoa.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
That doesn't usually, I haven't noticed that before.
I love it.
Ooh. Ooh. Huh.
That was, can you do that one again?
Yeah, I think so. What awareness, energy, and frequency can we in our bodies be to create an environment where contributive and symbiotic biological components love to live, thrive to our beings, our bodies, and the symbiotic biological components advantage?
And receive.
Ooh. Ooh.
Wow. Wow. And what is everything in the way of that?
Ooh, wow. Okay, so all that is, let's move that in
Put
front.
all that in the pile.
Ooh.
Capsulate all down below, back behind, above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining on the pile. Encapsulate all.
Yep.
Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that.
Whoa.
Vaporize, liquefy, vanish, crisp, pass, crisp, pass, crisp, pass, crisp, pass. Wow. 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 Yep.
Mm-hmm. Feels good.
Yep. 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 Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what would it be like if we do this for another hour?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what would it be like if we continued to clear and change to our and our body's advantage and the contributive and symbiotics advantage for the next hour? Ooh, wowza. And anything preventing that, do we choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yeah, I choose it.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy.
And what is everything we'd clear if we were to spend an hour clearing more around this juicy topic?
Woo! Yes.
Can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose to.
I choose that.
Yes.
Capsulate, down below, left behind, above, way out front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, everything remaining, everything remaining. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy, vanish, Wow. Wow. And what is everything we'd receive if we were to spend an hour receiving for us and all of our contributive and symbiotic biological components? And receive.
Wow. Yeah, receive. Woo. Woo.
Wow. There's a bandwidth happening there.
Yeah, they haven't been recognized before, and they really like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one of the other things that I got from watching that video is like he talked about, he said, like he focuses on, Dr. Gundry focuses on nurturing the good bacteria.
Yeah.
Like that's a focus of his. And you could see him, his body kind of light up and kind of get happy. It's like, yeah, it's like we're loved. Yeah, it's like how can we nurture that more for our bodies?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, receive.
Wow. Wow. And what else is now possible?
Yes. Receive.
Wow. Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
This feels good. I like
Yeah,
this.
I do too. Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining in on this.
Thank you.
This conversation, and
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds great. Bye for now.
Bye.